All right, see, I'm having all types of issues with this thing. Tonight, I do not know why. Well, I think I figured it out. How about now? Does everybody hear me now? Sound like that old the phone commercial. Remember those phone commercials? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? I think it's Verizon. I think it was. I hear you now. Okay. All right. Perfect. Sorry about that. I tried a little something new this week. Put something on there, but sorry about that. Had a few technical issues, I guess, but it's great to have you here, Brother Jorge, and I see you. Proud, nice that you're here as well. It's been a busy week, I think, for everyone. I think we'll briefly talk about the fires because just in case it does come up, it's been. I've seen some interesting takes on the fire. I don't like the takes that people sometimes take. I think it's a little wild. I don't know, And then you got Jimmy Carter's funeral. We talk about that. Instead of going with the fire, well, we'll briefly cover the fire. I sometimes fires happen. They're just there for. I don't necessarily believe in the whole judgment from God and Sodom and Gomorrah on all the Hollywood stars and stuff like that over there, because not just Hollywood stars died, just regular folks died as well in that fire out in that direction. But the interesting takeaway on the Jimmy Carter thing, I thought it was kind of interesting. We all know, if you watch news, Garth Brooks saying there with his wife. What is her wife's name? Can't think of her name. Trisha Yearwood. So they sang that old John Lennon song, and I read a comment somewhere that someone said, "Well, this would never be allowed in a Roman Catholic church," which I thought was interesting. So that church that they're in is the what is it called? The Washington National Cathedral. That was built back in 1909, 1899, somewhere in the 1900s, the early 1900s. It was a Gothic revival architecture with the copy of the Middle Ages. Funny how it's the Middle Ages, but that is not a Catholic church. It's not a Protestant church, but in a way, it is a Catholic church. It's an Episcopalian church. And the director of that particular church is a what? A woman priest. This should not shock anybody that they would have that type of situation in there. So, as most people know, Episcopalian, coming from the Church of England, but they're basically just a nicer version of the Catholic Church, I guess you can say, lack of better phrasing. So, and it still is. It's a demonic church. It's got gargoyles, for crying out loud, on top of it. And the Gothic church, Gothic revival, which was based on the original Gothic, between, I want to say, 12 and 1500, somewhere in that time frame, the Middle Ages. So no shocker there that they would be singing that song, One World Government, Coexist Until You Don't Exist, all of that. And if you know the song Imagine, with no religion, what's it go? Imagine there's no heaven, imagine no hell, or no religion too, or something like that. I'm against religion too. I'm all for the Bible, though. I follow God, so that's the most important part. But shouldn't be a shocker on that one, not at all. Catholic Church has been involved in this country a long time, even through the Episcopalian Church, which is off the Church of England, which some will say Anglican, but now they're both in cohorts, as most people know. Both the Catholic Church and the Church of England have, hey, they got their back together, and hey, we think the same here. Sorry, let's make up and be friends. I'm reminded of that priest. There was a priest from the Vatican who went to Kenneth Copeland's church. You can actually find this video online. I don't know where it is, but it's somewhere out there. It's an old video. And the priest in Copeland, and he told everybody, "Hey, we can all get together. We agree now." They were never far apart in the first place, but those nuts over there. But that's my take on the funeral of Jimmy Carter. Just a demonic New World Order situation, coexist, all of that. The Antichrist coming soon, just paving the way. Every day we see the paving of the way. Now back to the fires. I'm a little different on that one. A lot of charismatics, a lot of Pentecostal charismatics, evangelicals tend to start getting into the whole, well, Hollywood's on fire because it's Sodom and Gomorrah, and that's why people are dying over there. And again, I have to say that there are people in California that had nothing to do with Hollywood, had nothing to do with stars. I did see the report on the news or some sort of channel that they had the oh boy, it's either Academy Awards or Golden Globe Awards or Oscar Award. I don't know which one it is. Some awards, and they're mocking God, but they've been mocking God for a long time. So this is nothing new. So I don't believe, in my opinion, that God struck that fire because of the whole Sodom and Gomorrah thing and them mocking God. So because I don't think he would have killed innocent people as well. But that's my take. Everyone else's can have their opinion on that matter, and I have no problem with that. But that's where I'm at. I don't know how you're at. I'd love to hear your take. Brother Jorge, did it snow? I think you said it snowed in your area. I do not know how much we got down here in Tennessee. I was not happy that we got snow in Tennessee, although my two children, the youngest ones, they were fine with it snowing because they missed the snow. They like playing in the snow. So, but being an old guy like myself, moving from the north down to the south, I was trying to get away from the snow, but that did not work out so well for me in that particular situation. But I don't know what we got for snow. I was going to measure it. We couldn't find a measuring stick and so forth. Yes, a little over an inch. Okay, you got that was this. Yes, a little over an inch. Okay, yeah, we got more than an inch. I'm guessing we got probably 3 to 4 inches. That's my guess out there. Maybe it was more. I have no idea. Like I said, I didn't get to measure it. I was going to, but did not get around to it. We ended up going out today to pick up a few items over at the Rural King and so forth in the LCS, but that didn't work out well either. But like I said, the kids were happy for snow. That's the one thing they definitely missed about being up in the Northeast is the snow and being able to go sledding down the hill. So we do have a small hill over on the side of our driveway, and we got another hill in the backyard. It's we call it the no man's land because if you keep going far back, we never go to the far end of the property. So, let me text us something here. You're going to need a snowblower. Nope, I'm not buying a snowblower. Not happening. Not happening. I refuse to do that. We have a shovel. I'm not buying a snowblower. No way, no how. I used to make the joke up north. I had a I forget what model number, but it was an Ariens snowplow, and it was an expensive one, but I want to make sure we had a good one for the driveway. I always joked that it was the most expensive thing in my garage that I wish I never knew. Never used, but we did use it a few times, unfortunately. But I even got, here's a difference, brother. I'm telling you, you don't go home early. I don't think they sent us home early, which I thought was bizarre down here because being someone who drives up north, that's not enough snow on the ground for me to go home. But I guess where I work and plus the roads don't get treated as well, I guess, around here. They close up shop. They shut it down pretty quickly around here, unfortunately. So I had to go home early on Friday. So got a little work done on tomorrow's video and stuff like that and things this week. But I don't know. Up north, you don't go home. You just go to work and you get through the snow the best you can, and but that's the difference down here. And I think probably mostly because they don't have the budget and the ability to lay down salt or anything like that on the roads. I mean, the main roads were okay, but side roads are not that great. But, unfortunately, I got 4-wheel drive. But again, everybody has a 4-wheel drive nowadays and all-wheel drive and stuff like that in their vehicles today. So, I don't know. So, didn't like missing work, but it is what it is, and you got to move forward. You got to move on and go forward. I'm actually on call this weekend. Fortunately, I have not got a call yet, so I got my phone just in case. So I always have to preface that just in case I shut down the live stream. It's because I got a call and something happens. I don't think I'm going to get one. I'll probably get them tomorrow, but not today. The roads are just too bad out there. But yeah, no, I did not enjoy the snow at all. Not in one least. I guess as you get older, you don't like the snow as much as you do as a child. But what are you gonna do with that either? So that was my take on the snow. And I was just thinking again, as we were talking, I was thinking about that whole Jimmy Carter thing. I'm like, that guy, was an interesting guy. Got us into a lot of messes, but most government officials do. I know people are saying Donald Trump is going to save the day, and I think we do not need to start looking at him as the savior. We got to knock that off. Brother Jorge, have I asked you this? Prob, I don't know if you know. I think you do too. Well, whoever else is watching, they can chime in. This whole free grace thing, it's an interesting topic. I did not know it was as big of a movement as it is. I've never met people who were like this. So I'll be doing a little bit more on that down the road. Very, very interesting topic. There, I find in the internet world and internet Christians, I think I might call them internet Christians now. There are some interesting topics that I've never heard in my daily walk, my entire life, with talking to even a mainstream Pentecostal or a Baptist or a non-denominational, a King James, or and I just never heard of these different things about the whole flat Earth thing, the flat Earth, round Earth. I mean, I think there's a lot of Christians getting wrapped up, and I think some are well-meaning. By the way, I don't think all the people who get wrapped up in these things are bad people. I think they get all mixed up in it, and it's got nothing to do with your salvation. Whether you believe flat Earth or not flat Earth, that's not gonna. You're a globalist. You're a flat Earthist. I mean, come on. We need to pick better things to divide over. But we are in that time frame, though. We are in the time frame of a lot of different things are coming along out there that are distracting Christians from the truth and from other things that are more important. I believe the free grace, folks, and I'll get more into this. I'm interested in talking to a certain gentleman. I hope he reaches back out to me and asking him, where he really stands on free grace, because they take free grace to this weird place. So just like the flat earthers, I don't know. I guess I'm going to call them flat earthers, because flat earthers call the round earth, global, whatever it is. It's out of control. And I think it's a lot of stuff that takes you away from your daily walk with the Lord. It gets all mixed up. It gets out of control. All right. 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 20. For ye are bought with a price, therefore glorify God in your body and in your spirit, which are God's. Not free. Right. They get mixed up in this whole grace, and then they say faith, but it's faith and not grace, and there's no works, and they're not under the law. And I think they're confusing people with that. Again, we take these. You see this happening with Christians again. You have this way over there view and the way over there, when the truth is like right here. It's kind of like right here in the middle, but there's extremists, and it's just, I don't understand. It doesn't help. It doesn't make Christians better Christians, or their walk, and save people or start questioning their salvation. I'm like, oh no, geez, if I'm not flat Earth, am I not saved? I don't understand. If I'm a round Earth, am I not saved? Again, too much complication with that. You want to believe in a flat Earth, you go and believe in flat Earth. That's fine. You want to believe in a round Earth, go believe in a round Earth. It has no bearing on your salvation. As none. What is your walk every day? Are you walking every day on the basis of a flat Earth or a round Earth? So I think that topic is kind of, people who seem to be flat Earthers seem to be doing a lot of insulting, which I'm mystified by. They're Christians, but they're just full of this anger and insulting and bitterness. And I had put out a short the other day. I think it was yesterday. Flat Earth equals Freemasons. What one understands is I'm not going to go down that road. I don't want to get off the topic with folks. I don't want to get them all wrapped up in that situation. But it has nothing to do with salvation. And the free grace situation, which is, again, I'm going to harp on that because from what I've seen so far, free grace folks, they believe, from what I've seen so far from them, their channels, because I was mystified that this was a thing. So I started looking into these guys. Very vulgar, a lot of profanity, but I guess because they have free grace, that sin is okay. Because it gets covered again. Like I said before, people have this, like the once saved, always saved. Now, I do believe in a version of it, but we have extremists. There's once saved, always saved, and I think they're the same as free gracers, as in the fact when it comes to, it doesn't matter what I do, I can't be unsaved. You know what I mean? I can't lose my salvation. I can't do any of those things. Well, that's incorrect. And I will have to say, then you're not saved. A saved person does not continue those ways. You're not the old man anymore. You're the new man. So if you're still the old man, if you've accepted the Lord, right? You're free grace now, but you still act like the same lost sinner you were, then you missed something, didn't you? You missed it. You just missed it. Oh, hold on. Acts chapter 20, verse 28. Take heed, therefore, unto yourselves and to all the flock, over the which the Holy Ghost hath made you overseers, to feed the church of God, which he hath purchased with his own blood. Purchased. I like how you did that again. Purchase. Excellent. Amen. That is, I want to leave that up for a second. That's the part that I think gets lost. I'm like, there is a price. Someone paid a price for you. So therefore, if that person I'm trying to click that off there. If you've been purchased, right? Nothing's free in this world. I love this whole free. You're free, but it's not with no cost. What does that cost? Well, you're the cost. You have to give up you. You have to give up who you were. You're not that anymore. Again, I think it kind of almost, it runs the parallel lines of to where easy believism. So you got free grace, easy believism, and a version of once saved, always saved. You can't do anything to lose. Well, I'm saved. I can fornicate, I can smoke, I can drink, I can be a drunk, even though the Bible says no drunkards. I can do all those things. But here's the thing. They'll say, no. I was watching one guy. He says, no, you can't do those things. Well, why not? You just, here's the out this mouth and out this side of the mouth. And sometimes I don't think they realize that they are doing it. They're on one side going, it doesn't matter what we do. We're sinners. It doesn't matter what we do. And then they say, well, we can't do these sins. You see, that doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. You're not supposed to sin at all. If you're allowing these sins, it's like, well, I'm not going to worry about those. They're not such a big deal. But these I got to really work on. No. All of your sins, all of the things that you do that you're not supposed to do, you're not supposed to do anymore. Or eliminate as many as you can. And that's what happens when you're saved. You usually, when you're born again, you don't do a lot of those things anymore. You have no desire to do most of those things. Well, but we're all sinners and we all fall short of the glory of God. Again, I've talked about that before a long time ago. That's not an excuse. It's just not an excuse. But then you have people who say, free grace is that's not a thing, blah, blah, blah. And then they tell you that you have to do certain things. I'll see. Now we have that, get that dump truck and back it up, beep, 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 and unload that whole pile of works now. It's this whole extremist attitude that is among the Christians today, more and more, that I've never seen in my entire life. It's just happening more and more. There are all these things that are happening, and which again tells me that we are definitely towards that end, as far as I'm concerned, in my opinion. We have more and more people going, no, it's free, but you got to do all these things. And then somebody said, nothing for free, you have to do all these things. So, which one is it? I think people need to understand, you know, we are saved by grace, absolutely, and we have faith, and, and not works by itself. We're faith with works. Faith, the works come from the faith. I'm fascinating how people want to make things so complicated and so convoluted, just a whole ball of mess. And the same people will tell you the God is not the author of confusion, and then they go into this whole diatribe. Diatribe, is that a word? Of confusion, and it's again out the side of the mouth, out the side of the mouth. We're saying two different things. It's I am fascinated. I asked someone the other day a very simple question. It was a yes or no question on their channel, and they gave me a whole novel. It was a yes or no question. But I find that we have that more and more today. We have folks who can't just answer a question. Yeah, sometimes there's a little extra. Sometimes there's a little bit more than just a yes or no. A lot of people just there's no yes or no. It's really simple. If you believe this or if you believe that. Well, here's the thing. Depends on. No, it doesn't depend on. It's absolutely confused. My unprofessional drink of water, as I like to do. And Brother Jorge, I don't know how much experience you have with the free grace stuff, but it's a fascinating subject. You know me, I dive into a lot of things, and when something catches my attention, I'm pretty much all in. I will go all the way, and I will look for the origins. I will look for everything under the sun that has to do with something. That's I'm not one who just like to skim the surface. I take different angles when I look at things, and like the flat Earth thing, which is the Catholic Church loves the flat Earth. They were big proponents of that, along with the Freemasons and I believe Jorge, I think you had mentioned it was big in the occult too. You found that before, and I didn't see that too much of that. I know it was. I know. Well, what was her name? The founder of Theosophy. Was it Blavatsky or Helena Blavatsky or something like that? I forget her name. She was a flat earther as well. She believed in flat Earth. So when someone is screaming and yelling that, if you believe in a round Earth, you believe in what the Nazis and the Masons and stuff like that believe in. But then I can say the same thing. I don't think I've ran into that, but it reminds me of the hippies in the 60s with their free love. Yeah, free love. Free love. And then you find out that you've caught a disease. You get arrested or all types of things. I bet you there's a lot of guys and gals from that time frame would say, yeah, I got caught that. Love the music, though. I love the music. That's all I ever hear. If you ever talk to anybody who's from that time frame, number one thing you'll hear is they love the music. The music was great then. The music was awesome. The greatest time in music history. But they don't talk about the free love stuff as much because you get older. And as you get older, you get a little bit more wiser. You're supposed to anyways. And you see things differently. You don't see them through a young person's eyes. You see them through an older person's eyes of experience and seeing things along the way. That's why I have issues with people who don't work, because they have no idea what the world is like, because they don't work. They live with their mommy or collect welfare or whatever kind of thing they do, but not a lot of respect for folks like that. Sorry. I mean, nobody has to respect me, but I'm just saying, it just doesn't make much sense. But the music was good. That was it. Music is good. I ran into, I don't know. So I was talking to a Vietnam vet the other day. I actually had a stop. Because Good guy. I was there for his wife, actually, not him. She needed a concentrator. And so I was talking to him. He was watching one of them History Channel war channels. And then I happened to look up on his wall and I saw a couple of different pictures of people who served. And I had a conversation with him, and um, it was a good conversation. It was interesting. When he got out of the armed forces, he was in the military. He didn't tell me what branch. I didn't ask like if he was. Well, he showed me. She showed me a picture of him. She was very proud of him. He served in the army, and looked like he was in the army. So, but when he got out, because he was in Vietnam, he served. I think he said he was 69 to 71. I'm pretty sure that's what he said. And he went and drove truck when he came home. Came home after the war and drove, uh, became a truck driver. Then he got cancer, got diagnosed with cancer. I'm telling you this guy's personal life. I'm not telling you who he is. He got cancer from Agent Orange, and so he had some issues there. But he drove for years, and no government pension there. There was he wasn't getting money from the government or anything like that. He worked for years as a truck driver. So kudos to him. The man served his country, and then came home and worked. So that's I respect that part of him. Um, I don't think he's a Christian. And the reason I think he's a mainstream Christian, and what I mean by that is the same type of when you go into some folks' homes, you could tell they get the little scriptures up on the wall, a little cross, and they mean well. But so I hope I get to talk to him again and have a further conversation. That'd be wonderful. I'm looking forward to that. But what struck me is here's a man who served in Vietnam. He didn't serve like my mother's husband, third husband. Yeah, she was married 3 times. Um, Norman. He was I guess he's my stepfather. Not really. He didn't raise me. But anyways, they caught him. He was running to Canada, and when they got him, they arrested him or whatever and brought him back because of draft, and they sent him over to Germany. He served in Germany during Vietnam War. I mean, you would have thought they would have sent him straight over to Vietnam since he tried to run to Canada. They got him, but they sent him to Germany to serve. I'd have sent him right over to Nam. That's where I would have sent him. If you're running, I'll send you over there. But he tried to duck, so I didn't really respect him for that. I think World War II actually is the last war that we had any business being in it. And then again, as most people know history, we shouldn't have been that far along. FDR created some issues there. But he served his country well. He did his job. He went over there and did his time and came home and drove truck for the remainder of his life. And that's what reminds me of a lot of the whiners today. There's not one or two particular people. There's a lot of them out there of how bad their lives are. And I'm not saying some people don't have a tough time, but I think of the men who did serve and guys who come home, they have cancer, they have this, they have that. And then we just have people complaining that they didn't get a 50-cent raise this year at work. And I'm thinking these men did not get a 50-cent raise. And you go even further back, just people in this country, never mind just World War I, the coal miners in Virginia, West Virginia, the Appalachians. A lot of people struggled and put up with more than we could ever possibly imagine. And we have the gall to sit here and complain about how hard our lives are. Look at this. I'm on YouTube on internet. Are you kidding me? What a hard life I've got. I'm on YouTube. I'm blessed to have this. I'm not, and I don't look at this negatively, but too many people, and I'm really directing that too, not just as the secular world, but as Christians. There's a lot of born again Christians who are professing Christians who complain all the time. Woe is me. And they're just people. I think of the guy that is paralyzed, worked his entire life, fell off a building, and is paralyzed from work. I think of that guy. I think of the other kid who lost his leg in a car accident. His whole life has changed. I think of a lot of these things that happen, and we're complaining that we got a hangnail. It's just Even I complain when I shouldn't. My back hurts sometimes about bed. We need a new bed. And I'm thinking the bed we have is probably way better than the bed they had 30 years ago, and we're complaining about it. I'll tell you, we're going to have a tough time when the real persecution comes, you know. Um, I think there are a lot of guys out there. Oh, I was going to go back to that Vietnam guy. He said something that I've always believed, and I thought was interesting. He was saying, and I told him my feelings about the military, um, how I'm pro and anti at the same time. And he was exactly the same way. He said the same thing. He's pro having this military, but he's anti how the military is today. We talked about Homeland Security. You can bring them back on the Homeland Security and protect your. The war is here. The war is in our own country, all around us, and we agreed on that. That's for sure. But there are some guys out there also, and we're bringing this up, that believe that they're going to be martyrs, and that is an interesting approach. If you read, do I have? No, I don't have it in here. It's in the house. Fox's Book of Martyrs, and even the Catholics have their own Book of Martyrs. Oh, I got that up there somewhere. But these men didn't try to be martyrs. This is the interesting thing. They were martyred. They didn't go to be martyred. And there's a lot of men out there I see on these channels out there that goes, I will die for God. I will die for Jesus. I will do this, and I'll do that, and I'll do the other. I'm like, boy, you can't even go to work. And you're telling me you're going to die for Jesus? Get out of town. You can't even go to work. You can't even be a man enough to go and work for a living. So don't tell me. And the other people that bother me are these people who ban. And there's not just one. There's not just two. There's not just three. There's more than you think out there. I didn't realize it was really out there after talking to a few different people and even watching a few people complaining about other people banning people. I'm like, you're not going to be a martyr. You will not handle persecution. If you can't handle some negative comments, and if you look at any of my channels, I have never deleted anything off my channels. And some people have called me a few different names, not swear words, because those I will delete. I always tell people I'll delete the foul language like that. But you can call me an idiot, that I'm stupid, and I should learn Hebrew, I should learn Greek, I'm a moron, and I don't know anything about Jesus, or blah, blah, blah. I don't know anything about God. None of that bothers me. Not a single bit of that bothers me at all. But these people who delete or they ban people's comments and stuff like that are just questioning them or anything, they're weak, and they're sad. And I do not believe at this point anymore. And I've been cautious over the years, and I always tell people to be cautious about calling people out or saying that they're not saved. But these people are either were possibly saved and have fallen away, or they never were and they were false converts. Because if you can't handle people making comments on your channel on YouTube, bro, you are not going to make it. You're not going to I'm going to stand the truth. No, you're going to run like a little girl. Oh, I just offended women out there. I'm sorry. It's an old saying. I'm sorry. I caught an old saying, but you're going to run like a little whiny person. You're going to tuck your little tail and you're going to run. And I firmly believe that there's a lot of wannabe tough guys out there. A lot of them who've never had to really have any altercation. Sort of fisticuffs, so it would be. And they're just gonna they're gonna bend the knee and not the right. They're not gonna bow. Every tongue shall confess. No, they're going to bend to the Antichrist. They'll be here for that. They're not going to make it. They're not. If you can't handle comments on your channels or your Rumbles and your YouTubes and your Spotifys and your BitChute and your what's the other one? Social media, not social media. What is the one Donald Trump has? Social justice. I don't know what it's called. Mad social. I don't know. Didn't he create? Somebody correct me. I'm pretty sure he created a whole his own Twitter type of thing. Oh, Twitter too. They're weak and they're not going to make it. Martyrs don't go to be martyrs. That's just all there is to it. True. Okay, thank you. Truth Social. I couldn't think of it for the life of me. I don't have Truth Social, so I didn't know what it was. I had Twitter for about 5 minutes. And I'm off that. Not Twitter. Well, it was Twitter. What's it called now? X. Um, all just garbage comes through that, so I don't mess around with that anymore. I keep it pretty simple. And I get the website, but then again, I might let the website go for now. It's a lot of work to keep that going and keep these channels going and getting videos ready and all of that. And it's takes a lot of my time, which I'm not arguing or complaining. I go to work every day and I come home and do this too, and try to spend time with my sons and my wife and my father. Not as much with my dad because he's kind of a loner, but this is what I feel the Lord has called me to do. So this is what I'm doing, and I don't complain whatsoever. I just put out whatever I feel the Lord wants me to do. Like all of a sudden, I just started that King series on Wednesdays. That's what I'm doing. And remember that whoever watches now and down the road, we all have a duty to minister. Not minister, become a priest or Episcopalian or Lutheran. I mean, we all have that. All of us guys out there are supposed to be doing that. That's what we're supposed to do. And women are supposed to share with women. Obviously, that's pretty obvious. I don't think there's any mistake about that. But again, I'm doing all the talking as usual. And I may roll this back to 8 o'clock. I don't know. It was suggested by my lovely wife. And I thought about it previously, but I'm an old man now, so got to get to bed. Can't stay up all night. Although my mind races because I got 1,000 things I want to do or put out there and get out there, and always thinking about the next step. Got to keep going. So, boy, that's about all I've got going on there. As again, Jorge, do you have anything to add except you had some great scriptures there? How are your daughters doing? I think you have. Do you have them every? You have them most weekends, I believe. I believe they're with you this weekend. How do they enjoy the snow? How are your daughters enjoying the snow? They must love the snow. They're from the Northeast. They love the snow. I don't care for the snow as much, but I actually had to go buy gloves today. I couldn't believe it. I thought I was all done buying winter gloves, and there I am going to over to the farm store, Roll King, to buy. I don't like these glasses. They don't like the cold. Okay. All right. Do they like the snow? I wonder if they like the snow. Yeah, like I said, went and got the gloves and got thermal socks for work. I guess now I'm going to have to wear warm socks and warm gloves. Thought those days were gone. I've noticed, by the way, an uptick in mask wearing. Has anybody seen this? Brother Jorge, are you seeing this up there? Are you seeing an uptick on mask wearing? I'm seeing people wearing masks all of a sudden again. And not just older folks. I don't really have a problem with older folks doing it. You know what I mean? Because they're more susceptible to pneumonia and flus and so forth and things like that. But I couldn't believe it. I'm like, wait a second. What is going on? Why is there so many masks again? I guess COVID's coming back around, I guess. I don't know. I don't pay attention. Oh, by the way, I think that fire, correct me if I'm wrong. So they found some guy who supposedly started with the flamethrower, which I was surprised at. How do you get a flamethrower in California? California doesn't allow anything, but yeah, he's got a flamethrower. What does that say? A few that. Yeah. There'll always be a few that still wear a mask. Yeah, no kidding. That's crazy. I'm like, I don't know why. Again, I have no issues with older folks wearing masks at all. I'm wearing the wrong glasses. I get that. I get that they're because of being older and more susceptible to these type of things and flus and pneumonia and so forth. So I don't, doesn't bother me at all, elderly, but there are some folks that aren't like, they don't have something. You can tell they're just kind of those lefty folks out there. Say, yeah, some are. You're right. Some are still conditioned. Yeah. Lovely to see you, sister. Yeah, they're still conditioned. It's amazing. It's kind of like religion itself too. It's the same thing. You're conditioned to believe certain things, and you have to break away from those things. You would think more people would have woke up, and some have, but and again, I I've been accused of being one of those back in the day when I used to do statistics. When I was in Connecticut, I'll share this, and I might have shared it before. I used to do the old numbers. It's all the brainwashing from 2020. Yeah, I'd even go further back than that. But I used to do the statistics in Connecticut. I used to follow them all the time because some of us knew that it wasn't what it was supposed to be. But I'm one of those weirdos who didn't listen to the news. Now, I was accused of being a far right person, that I hated my grandmother, wanted my grandmother to die and stuff like that. First of all, my grandmother's not even alive anymore. I'm getting closer to being a grandfather than having a grandfather alive. But yeah, I got accused of all that, and I was telling you no, and that's the problem. We get the far right, COVID's not real. No one has ever gotten sick the whole time, and then you get the other side going, everybody's dying. I'm like, I was over here in the middle. Probably some of you were too. I'm like, yes, some people are dying. No, it's not like no one has died. It's like, man, people, use your noggin a little bit. But we just follow. They are, most people are. They're the people at the registry or the people at the bank. Remember when they had the banks? Now I haven't gone inside of a larger bank in a long time, but remember the ropes. I know some of you do. You follow. You got to follow the line. Until you get to the teller. They used to have them back in the day. DMB, same thing. Sit down, call your number, walk up, wait your turn, go down there, get to the window. You're conditioned to do certain things, be a robotic movement, and that's what people are. They're the sheeple, so to speak. They're the sheep. Now, people did get sick. There's no doubt about it. People got sick, but those are people that were had it. You know what I mean? Were susceptible to these things. But what I was going to say is, doing the statistics in Connecticut, I used to do the videos. I think they're probably still on Rumble. If you ever go to my Rumble channel, I just started uploading again my stuff on the Rumble. I keep forgetting to do it. But anyways, YouTube took some down. What a surprise. And I remember going to work one day, and I can't remember the guy's name that I worked with. I cannot remember his name at all. You would think I remember the guy's name. But anyways, I told him, hey, Joe, whatever his name was. Actually, I did work with a Joe, but that's not the one I was talking about. I said, you know what? I was going to move out of Connecticut, but I think I'm going to stay. He says, why? I says, I think this is a biblical state. It is a downright biblical state. Because what do you mean? I says, well, yesterday, between the ages of 0 and 9, there was one death, and today there's 0. People are coming back to life. And he thought it was funny, but it was half joking and half like, this is ridiculous. I mean, how can you not see what's going on? So you had a lot of those. The numbers didn't match at all. I remember going to the hospital when my wife was still working. She does not work anymore. She has a harder job, and that's taking care of us at the house and taking care of Dad. Being a stay-at-home mom and wife, I think, is harder than any job there is out there. But I was leaving work, and I was going to catch her and tell her I love her and give her a kiss, blah, blah, blah. And so I'm standing there waiting for her to get there. And this guy walks in. He's got his high waters. Why do they always fit a stereotype? I don't know, but he's got his high waters on, walks up to the front desk where 2 security guards are. He said he was here to test, and they started to give him the direction. He goes, oh, okay, you want to go? And he goes, yep, I know, down the aisle, down the aisle. What do you say? Down the aisle, down the whatever. Then to the right, first door on your left. I'm like, okay, this guy, he's here all the time. That's why your testing numbers go through the roof, because guys like him keep showing up. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see this comment. I apologize. I am doing well. We had 6 inches of snow. So I don't know what state you're in, but wow, you got 6 inches. Oh, yikes. I think we got 4. I don't know what we got. I'll be honest with you. I don't know how many inches we have. It looks like we got maybe 3-4 inches. It could be more out there. I don't know. I don't pay much attention to it. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I went to a mall in my son says to me all the time, how do you how are you do you know all these people that we come across, and why are you in every town up and down the East Coast? I said, I don't know. But I went to a mall in Frackville. I think it was in Frackville, Pennsylvania, up on a hill. It was a very interesting place. I felt out of place, to be honest with you. That was a uh, interesting place. All the Pennsylvania has some good gas stations. I think they have the Sheets. I think Sheets is up there. I think that's a lot of gas stations called Sheets are in that area. I could be wrong, but I think it's Sheets. Pretty neat little. Those are pretty neat. Those particular gas stations. Some of them are all right. But yep, Frackville, Pennsylvania. I'll never forget that place. Yes, I'm guessing you've heard of Frackville. Frackville is not and you can correct me, sister, but Frackville is not a destination if you don't live there. It doesn't seem like a town that's a destination. That's all I'm saying. It was a very odd mall. It was pretty much almost closed down. I'm pretty sure it was Frackville, not too far off the highway. I had to stop there. I got off that exit to get something to eat. I saw a mall and I figured, hey, there's got to be something to eat in the mall. There was a couple little restaurants, but I didn't want to go to those down the road. But anyways, yeah. So I do remember that. Frackville, Pennsylvania. Man, I'm going everywhere. Small. The mall. I'm guessing you mean the mall is small. Yeah, because that's how I remember. It was a small mall, and half of the stores closed down. They had an auction place down at the other end of that mall, but they looked. So, folks, I don't know how I was dressed, but they looked at me like they knew I didn't belong there. Yeah, so it was interesting. Yeah, the town, small town. Yeah, the town Frackville. It didn't look like it was a large town. That's for sure. But there was a mall near there. But I don't know how I got onto that down that way, because you're from Pittsburgh. But been through there. I never lived in Pennsylvania. I've lived in New Hampshire. I lived in New Hampshire briefly. I think, where was I in New Hampshire? I lived over in Nashua in a small apartment up off of Daniel Webster Highway there, up in that direction. It was near a moccasin store, a store that sells moccasins. I remember somewhere down that area off the highway, Daniel Webster Highway. Lived in Massachusetts, obviously lived in Connecticut. Now we're in Tennessee, obviously. Drove all those areas. Used to drive all the time. Used to drive out to Stephentown, New York. That's a sad story. So me and my son have the same name, and we happened to find years ago on a map there was a Stephentown up in New York. So we decided we're going to go to Stephentown, New York, and check it out. So we drove at that time. The first time we went, we were coming from. We lived in a little town called Palmer, Mass. Three Rivers, and we drove up to New York out that direction, and it was we went to a pizza joint up there. And it was, we bought a mug. He got a little mug there, one of those like souvenir mugs. The only Stephentown in America. And it was pretty cool. We went there a couple of years, and a couple different times. And I think we went there 3 times. And the 4th time was a sad story. That was just after COVID. And we went there. We drove there. And we drove up, and it looked like it was closed, and we were kind of surprised by that. So, and we saw some trash at the end of the driveway. We pulled up, and there was a couple of guys in a truck there, and they asked us, "Hey, can I help you?" And I says, "Yeah, we actually came here to pizza. It's been a few years since we've been up here, and we haven't been up and so forth." And they had said, like, and you probably heard this from a lot of folks out there, that COVID killed their business. They never recovered from COVID. Not them in sickness, but the business itself never recovered. So that was a sad story. I was like, that was unfortunate. But there was some stuff down there. My son was kind of bummed, and then they said, we got stuff down there. If you want something that's from here, you can take it. And I was surprised. So my son found a little exit sign in the trash over there. It wasn't like trash, like junk all over. It wasn't dirty. So he grabbed that exit sign for a little memory of that place, But yeah, people got conditioned to believe lies, and businesses were destroyed. Little mom and pop places, and that's unfortunate that happened. Uh, it's and they were just many. They're just one of many stories, stories, and government, by the way, is not the only one who does the brainwashing and the conditioning. Religion does it. Churches do it. Even people on the internet, guys out there on the internet, condition people to think a certain way, and then they put you down for thinking outside and going, wait a second, something's not right here. And then you get conditioned, and you keep getting conditioned over and over again until one day you wake up and you are no longer following this Bible. You start following these other things. Like I told you about the flat earth and round earth and the free grace movement, and you can sin, and that is ridiculous. We do sin, by the way. There's no doubt about that. We all sin. I'm not saying we don't. Every one of us, depending on what the sin is. I'm not saying we all go out and we're fornicating, but we all sin. Mine is anger. I get mad sometimes when I shouldn't. It's definitely my sin, without a shadow of a doubt. But that's something I've always had. I would think pride once in a while. I do have a little once in a while. I get that little bit of pride. I think that's a combination of things. I think being a guy, more often than not, men are more prone to be prideful than women are. Not that saying women can't be prideful. I'm just saying that that's the way it is. Another unprofessional drink of water. Run a top-notch program here, But I think that has to stop. I think people are. And again, when you get brainwashed by those things, then you get brainwashed by religion. Then you get led to believe or brainwashed that you can only listen to one guy out there, or one pastor, or one preacher, or one this. And I think that's what happens is you start not knowing or hearing the truth. You don't hear it because you're only staying in this little zone that you've been brainwashed to be in, and convinced that there's only one way. And there is only one way, by the way. Hello. Only one way is through Jesus Christ. He's the mediator. He's the way. He's the door. He's the way. That's the only, not me, not other guys who like to puff themselves up in pride and feel like they've got the market cornered. There are a lot of arrogant, prideful men out there. Even guys who seem to know what they're talking about, or think they know what they're talking about, got it together. I always talk about Reverend Grant. It's always been my favorite story. I'm an old man now. I always repeat stories sometimes, but that's always been one of my favorite stories, because that man, he knew that Bible inside out, and he could sell you your own vehicle. There's an old saying that the guy was a car salesman could sell you your own car back to you. And that's how this Reverend was. And he was brilliant. He was very smart man, but a sinner. What he was doing behind the scenes was wickedness. So that's why I tell people, just because someone knows something doesn't mean they're living. And I could say that, or you could say that about me, because you don't know me, because there's no accountability. What accountability is there? You can't see me. Once this camera shuts off, I could be doing anything. Not that I am. I'm just saying that becomes the problem. I got a headache a little bit. I think my hat's a little tight. I bought a new hat. It was a cheap hat. I don't spend much on hats. I try to find any plain hats I can find that don't have anything on them. But there are men who popped up and think they got it all figured out, and they think they're smarter than you. And again, you get caught up in it, and you're like, oh, this guy's he knows what he's talking about. But again, when you don't have that accountability to fellowship, and I know not all of us are going to fellowship. We got this fellowship here online. I'm thankful for that. But outside off the screen, we have to do our best to find people in our areas. And again, I understand that it's not easy to do. I know it's harder and harder today than it ever has been, but it doesn't mean you should just go straight into some sort of isolationist behavior. That doesn't make any sense. Behavior, Christian isolation type of situation. You know who was actually into Christian isolation? It was C.S. Lewis and A.W. Tozer. Those two guys were very big proponents of. In fact, I think they both wrote books on that exact topic of Christian isolationism, and there's a difference between just getting away for a weekend or an hour of peace and quiet, as opposed to getting away from everybody, everyone, and just being way out in the middle of nowhere type of Christian isolation. You don't talk to people, and that is not correct at all. But A.W. Tozer taught that. C.S. Lewis taught that to get away from it. And again, C.S. Lewis is not a born again Christian. I know people are gonna get all mad at me. Yes, he is. No, he really isn't. He was good friends with what is his name? Tolkien, J.R. Tolkien or something like that. He's one of those fantasy writers, pre Harry Potter stuff. I want to say Tolkien, if that's how you pronounce it. I don't know. I never read his stuff, so I don't know. Tolkien, that is. I read C.S. Lewis before, way back, because my mother told me he's a Christian man. I'm like, he's actually not, but that's okay. He was still, even towards the end of his life, he was still hanging out at these get-togethers, and they talk about some really wicked things, but whatever. And then A.W. Tozer, I'll tell you the one thing about A.W. Tozer I do like. He was basically a Presbyterian evangelical. He didn't go to school for it, but he became a pastor at some local place. But the one thing I did like about him is all his royalties, and I hope I'm in that position when I finish the 2 books I'm working on. I hope to be able to do the same thing. But he gave all his royalties away. He donated all his royalties. So I'll give him that. He just lived off of what his congregation gave him, and that's it. All of that money just went straight to shelters, homeless places, all types of places that were in need. He gave his money, so I'll give him that. Definitely give him credit for that. I don't agree with a lot of his stances on things. Obviously, tongues. I obviously don't believe that. Clearly, being a former Pentecostal, yeah, I don't believe in tongues. Divers tongues, yes, that is spoken in the Bible, but not tongues. Sorry. If you're offended, sorry. But boy, again, I'm doing all the talking. Again, I think back to things. That Frackville just popped in my mind again. They had a small sports store in there that I had never even heard of, and then I found it down here in the South. There was a couple of them. It was weird. That place still. I got pizza. That's what I got. I got pizza. I got a slice of pizza down there. It was awful pizza. It was terrible. I almost wanted to put a bid in at an auction place, but I didn't. That was when I drove my brother down to South Carolina. I moved him down to South Carolina. That was a nice trip with my brother. It was the only time we really had a good trip. I actually talked to him a couple of times lately after not talking for a year and a half. We just don't talk anymore. Now, we talk about brainwashing. My younger sister, I love her. I do. But she really got wrapped up in all that. I mean, they shut down the whole family during that time frame. Imagine that. COVID separated families. Religion separates families. It's unfortunate. It's how it all went down. I'm looking at the time, and I'm over an hour, and I'm trying to be better at not. But again, whoever's watching right now down the road, I'm thinking about moving it back to 8. My lovely wife had said something about it, and I tend to agree with her on this one. Getting older than I am, I might want to get to bed earlier, because the reason I made it 9, and I'll tell you why, is because I'm on East Coast time. Obviously, well, I was in Connecticut when I used to do live streams before with that other guy. His name was Scotty. I got nothing to hide. His name's Scotty. We're not brethren anymore. Unfortunately, he went off and just did some weird stuff. But he's got to deal with his sins. It's got nothing to do with me. I wish him the best. I hope he gets some things straightened out, because that's just my hope. I'm not mad at him. I'm not angry with that guy or anything like that. And we're not supposed to be. Bible teaches us not to be angry. You forgive people who their trespasses, and I forgive them. I forgive him and moved on. That's okay. But anyways, we used to do the live stream back then, and I've done them since. I took some time off. But anyways, I was up in Connecticut, and I wanted 9 o'clock because my reasoning was California and that the West Coast at 6 o'clock would be after supper time. So therefore, be after supper and they can actually watch a video or anything like that. But I'm on the East Coast time, and for me, it'd be late. So if I'm doing a 3-hour show, for some reason, I'm not doing a 3-hour show, but it gets late here, 10:30 or 11 o'clock. And for me, I don't shut down. I still do the other things. Like after I'm done here, I'm going to upload tomorrow's stuff, and get that going. That'll be out in the morning time. So, but I'm thankful. I honestly am. I talked about earlier how people complain and stuff like that. I'm listen. I'm stumbling on my words, but I am thankful. I don't care if I have one subscriber or 1,000 subscribers. I'm thankful all the way. It's not about the quantity of people, and lately, yes, there's been an uptick on my channel, and that will probably die out, and that's okay. And I'm not worried about that because I don't make any money off of YouTube. I don't make money off of donations or anything like that, so my living's not off of this, which I don't think it really should be for anybody, but they've got to sort that out with God. They're going to have to answer that when the time comes. For me, not there for that, but I am thankful. I've got nothing to complain about. Yeah, I have my tough days and, getting older, but we have our little hard times. We deal with my father and his issues and stuff like that. But, and I don't want to say best life now. No, I'm not living a Rick Warren life or a Joel Osteen life or anything like that. But for me, those of you who've been with me a long time know where I come from. I'm pretty much an open book. I got nothing to hide. So I never shy away from things or questions or anything like that. It's been a rough life, and I'm not the only one. A lot of us do, and so I'm thankful for where I am. I'm in one of the best places in my life. I got an amazing, beautiful wife. I'm not saying that just because she's watching, but I'm thankful, and I've got great kids. Are they paid neck sometimes? Yeah, because they're kids, and that's what you can do. We even have a great dog. She's a pain in the neck too, but an excellent dog, well-behaved dog. Would protect those kids in a heartbeat, which is wonderful. I really don't have, but I look once in a while. My wife and I will look out the back deck and we'll say, "Wow, can you believe we're here?" I grew up a white trash kid in an all Puerto Rican neighborhood up in the Northeast. And now I live on a couple acres next to farmland down here in Tennessee. So, and I messed up along the way. I backslid, absolutely. And I've never hid that. I don't lie about that. Like I said, for me, nothing's really off limits, except for the only thing I have an issue with is because I don't put my wife on a video or anything like that, or my kids. I don't think it's you shouldn't attack. And that's when I get riled up. Don't attack my wife, and don't talk about my wife, and don't talk about my kids. That's it, and I've had that issue already once before with somebody because I don't put them out here. I don't use my wife to get views or my kids to get views. They're not on here, and maybe one day my boys will be. I know the middle one, he's 12. I think I'm gonna start getting him prepared and prepped and helping me with some of the research stuff that we do. The other one's not ready for that. The 10-year-old. We have a wide range of ages. It is what it is. But for those of you watching as I ramble on, I am thankful. I really am. Even if you don't ever make a comment, you're just watching. And feel free, by the way, to make a comment anytime you want. And my wife is great because she's also acts as an administrator. She'll remind me of things that I forget. And I'm actually reminding myself when I don't have my pen. There it is. She always tells me you keep forgetting to ask people if they have anything they want to pray for, if it's a general prayer that we can we put them into our prayer time, and we add those in for those to pray. I always write a couple people that I know of, that some that aren't even here tonight. Well, maybe they aren't watching it. I don't know, but we include those in there because we know them, and we know that sometimes they're not here because they are dealing with some issues. So I just wrote that name down. But if anybody has anything, or if you just have a general thing, you just want us to do a general prayer for you, we will. So feel free to put that in the box. If you got nothing, that's okay too. My prayer is that the Lord just keeps on blessing me to be able to be here. I'm thankful for all the time. Hoping to get into one of the local juvenile detention centers. I'm hoping that might open. I was going to do that up north, but every door closed on that one. I'm hoping the door will open down here. That's something that would be nice. We'll see what happens. So we got another minute or so before we'll close it down. So if anyone's got anything, go ahead, throw it in, and we'll write it down. But I am grateful. I really am. People are like, okay, you keep saying it over and over again, because I am. I think, and that's another problem. I think far too often people are not grateful and they're not thankful, and they just think you should be there and watching their videos, or they should be there on their live stream. That you're supposed to be. Well, then I guess you're just like a church building. I guess so, same deal. You better show up on Monday. I mean, on Monday. Well, some churches might have it on Monday. You better show up on Sunday and Wednesday and Thursday and Friday and Saturday. Actually, I just saw one church that I drove by. It didn't look like it was a church. It was just a little small building. So I looked them up, and they're interesting. They have 5 days a week. I was like, wow, they have services 5 days a week. That's a new one for me. All right, well, I'm going to wrap it up as I'm rambling on. I'm thankful. Again, thank you for being here this evening. It was a random chat. That's what I like about this. We just get together, we listen, we'll talk, we'll throw a few things in, just feel like somebody else is listening to us along the way. Obviously, I'll be here next week. Just check to see if I'll be at 8 o'clock. I might roll back to 8 o'clock, see what happens. For some of us older folks and those of us on the East Coast that have kids or have to get up early in the morning and so forth. With that, I'm going to awkwardly end the end stream here, as I always do. And with that, God bless. And I wish you the best this weekend and everything goes well. Good night.